everyone, welcome back. We're kind of continuing from last episode. He wants to keep talking about Sonic. Let's keep going.
No, no, I just gotta finish that bit. Bitch, you're the one who brought him up first. Fuck you. Victim blaming asshole. But, so I was on Sonic 06 and dictating that it was fundamentally broken. Going on from there, Sonic Colors was actually very refreshing.
Actually, Unleashed is next.
Oh, Unleashed, yeah, I always forget about Unleashed. That's weird though, because it has a good half to it.
Half, that's actually more like a third. There are way more night sections.
I mean, that's a game that has an okay skeleton. It's still buggy as shit, and I think it's not good halfway, but like it's got a good skeleton.
You
There's a
know
combo.
what? It has one of the best opening cutscenes.
Oh, and as
Of
I
any
said,
Sonic
like
game.
the day scenes are some of the fastest you'll ever feel in a Sonic game. They are.
Oh yeah.
It's also really hard to control. So I think that if they were to retool it, they'd have to fix that to make it line up more with today's control schemes. Because holy crap, when they first bring in the burst mechanic, it is hard as shit to control. Um, Other than that, though, there's definitely an aspect of the the werehog level mechanic isn't terrible in terms of like it could be a solid beat 'em up if they did it right, but they didn't do it right, so they have to retool that. That is a good skeleton to me, but it's an okay game, barely an okay game.
They also
It's
need to
gonna
cut out like half of the werehog stages. Go on
oh
too
no, just
long.
like just add more of the running ones. And if they, I'll be real, this is where the retooling comes in too, Jesse. If they fix the mechanics to make the beat 'em up feel good, you wouldn't need them to cut them because they'd feel good,
I
right?
suppose you're right.
So like in this hopeful, that's the way that would be, and then it would be just right maybe. But again, from that, Colors is a good pure 3D Sonic game. It's fun. Story's nothing special though. Don't expect much from it. The mechanics are fun. The wisps are interesting and enjoyable. The music is phenomenal. It's
I will
the
say,
first time.
Sonic Colors is probably the best like vibing Sonic game.
Yeah, I do think that Sonic's new voice actor in that one sounds a little whiny. He hadn't found his niche yet. I mean,
Yeah,
he
it
always
took him
sounds.
a little bit to get into how to be Sonic without being whiny.
But Sonic Colors is a good baseline Sonic game. It's a good game. That is a good game. Sonic Generations is phenomenal. It's very fun.
Sonic
It's enjoyable to go.
Generations is taking the boost mechanic from Unleashed in Colors and finally just like this is it. This is perfect now. We
Oh,
perfected
like
it.
that, but also like giving you this vibrant look at 2D worlds in 3D and 3D worlds in 2D. What a
Yeah,
fun concept.
just giving you a new
Uh,
perspective on things.
they brought '06 to the party, and nobody wants the drunk uncle there.
But even but I mean even like the 3D games being brought into 3D, um, we get to see like new renditions. Like Sonic Adventure did its level very different than Generations did its level.
I mean, perfect chaos. The entire fight was much more verbose, more bigger in scale, because that's what they wanted to do. Was what they had dictated. Is they wanted chaos to be this huge thing, and you had to circle around it because it's so big. You can't run from one end to the other. The only reason they did that is because it was the Dreamcast.
Well, I think another thing, I think this is a great thing a lot of people point out. This is regular Sonic of modern day fighting Perfect Chaos, showing that like Sonic is like a lot stronger than he was back then because now he's just
Yeah,
fighting
no, he didn't
regular.
have to go super. He
Yeah,
didn't have to go super.
he's just like, oh, it's Perfect Chaos. I know how to do this. I can do this without going
Yeah,
super.
because before he straight up had to go super. Uh, Same with the Death Egg. Same with a bunch of other bosses. But big thing to me is I think Generations was a very lovely love letter, and it kind of that with colors back to back made people think that things were about to start to get better. I'm not talking about the handheld ones, mind you, Advance and Rush, because they're all good. They're all good games.
Those are made by different people though. Those are made by Dimps, aren't they?
Yeah, I believe so. Oh, yes, but they're good games, so I don't need to talk about them.
It's just one
They're
of
all
those
good.
things. Is a fantastic Mario game that's made by somebody that isn't Nintendo, really a good
Sonic
Nintendo.
Team if Sonic Team worked with them on it, which they did, it counts.
Okay.
I mean, so I was gonna say on the flip side too, Sonic Battle is also a really fun game. Uh, oh fuck, I forgot Sonic Shuffle for good reason. That game is garbage. Moving on. Um,
Okay, I definitely, because there are a lot of mechanics in Sonic Shuffle that I would love to see done better.
it's awful. It's awful Mario Party. Like Garfield Party is better than.
I don't know.
Oh, it was during the Mario Party parody regime. Everybody was trying to make their own Mario Party, and it just like I mean, there were a couple ones that weren't terrible, but they were not one of them.
Nope.
Uh, but yeah, moving on. So I touched on that. I touched on that. I touched on that. I touched on that. What's after?
Forces.
What's after Generations? Forces.
Yep.
Forces is after
No, no,
Generations.
no. It was
No, no, no,
Lost
no. It's
World.
Sonic the Hedgehog. No, no. Episode 1, episode 4. It's Sonic 4.
Episode 4. Actually, I think episode 4 was before Generations, so.
Oh God, we gotta talk about him. We gotta talk about him. Wow, what a disappointment. Wow,
So.
that was probably the biggest disappointment of my gaming career right there, next to like the Mega Man Legends 3 thing.
So you gotta
Because
understand what I was thinking about Sonic Episode 4, right? Or Sonic 4 Episode 1, whatever. Like, so we had the Sonic Advance series and we had the Sonic Rush series, both made by different people, right? Um, and those are great 2D Sonic games. And then in comes Sonic Team by themselves being like, haha, look at these guys making great 2D Sonic games. We'll do it. And then they fucking fail. And that is what got me into the mentality that Sonic Team kind of sucks.
they do, like Mania versus Forces proved it to me. One was the fans and one was the death.
Like, goddamn. Like, that was the moment where I'm like, maybe Sonic Team just doesn't know what the fuck they're doing.
But yeah, no, I was gonna say 4 came out, if you remember this, around the time Mega Man's resurgence came about, Mega Man 9 and 10, which were both really well received. They were fun, just Mega Man games.
Yeah.
Good platforming, enjoyable controls, fun powers, whatever the fuck.
Notably, all WiiWare games.
Initially, they put them on the
Yeah.
PlayStation Shop and Xbox Live like pretty quick after. But
The WiiWare has some weird hidden gems on it. I gotta tell you.
they really do. I mean, they were the first ones to give you the Wiimote to be able to play Phoenix Wright, and that was really fun.
But tangent, Sonic.
Yeah. So Sonic 4, I literally couldn't tell you the story off the top of my head right now. It was so forgettable. The controls themselves were very floaty, like some of the floatiest I've ever played within the series.
I think they were also slippery on top of being floaty, which is a good god.
Yeah, that's really bad controls. That's that's and what kills me is the game looked all right.
Because, like, floaty on its own could be fun. Kirby is super floaty, and Kirby's fun. So, it's like...
Well, I mean, that's the whole point of Kirby, though, is like they have very big platforms for you to find landings on, and it's simplified for kids and all that shit. Like that's the point of Kirby. It's
Well, I
not
think
the point
another
of
thing
Sonic.
about Sonic 4, on top of being floaty and having poor slippery, and somebody else pointed it, is zoomed like way into on Sonic, so you can't see what's in front of you, and you will just hit a spikes.
That's true. Yeah, that's true, isn't it? Fuck. Yeah, that's God. That was a bad game, unfortunately.
Oh, sorry. Did you not see that bottomless death pit I have you? Well, I guess you'll just have to remember it's there for the next time you come around, you know?
Like pretending like you're made for speedrunners is not being made for speedrunners. Because like that's a big part of the Sonic community is speedrunners. But yeah, no, Sonic, and we'll just say the same thing is true for this episode 2.
Episode 2, if
Um,
I remember, fixed at least a lot of the stuff about things killing you off screen, if I remember. It still didn't fix the rest of it.
yeah, no, the rest of it was not fixed, even though that part was. Um, and then we have Sonic. Boom. Oh my God, where do I begin?
Sonic Boom, yeah. Okay, so
That game is one of the most broken video games of all time.
so here's a fun bit. Sonic Boom was a trashy thing. Sonic Boom DS was not a trashy game. Guess which one was made with Sonic Team,
Oh
and
no,
guess
no,
which one wasn't?
you're thinking Fire and Ice. Fire and Ice was good.
Fire Ice was good. If I remember, the original Sonic Boom DS version was also tolerable.
I guess I just don't recall that, but you might be right. I might be wrong, so I'm not gonna.
If I recall. I also, just as a tangent, Sonic Colors on the 3DS was made by the Sonic Rush crew and has a completely different story, and like you meet like several other characters along the way. It's like a completely different game. Everybody should play Sonic Colors on the 3DS. It's like
It's not bad.
it's a different game, like almost completely.
It's not bad. I agree. It's a different game. If you're really into different stories for Sonic, go ahead.
If you like
Obviously,
Sonic Rush, you should play it because it's Sonic Rush, kinda.
yeah, I do think Sonic Colors had a better control scheme than Sonic Rush, though, by nature of what it was.
Yeah, sorry, that was just a little tangent because not a lot of people know that about Sonic Colors for the DS.
Right, right, right. Fair, fair.
Is that it is a different Sonic experience than the original than the big version. It's like the difference between Sonic Unleashed for the PS3 and the Sonic Unleashed for the Wii. Also, two different games. Actually
But
have
man, oh
different
man,
levels and stuff. Which, by the way, I was complaining about them needing to cut out like half the Nighthawk stages. Significantly less of them in the PS3 version. Wii version has like 3 times more.
man, oh man.
Man, oh man.
Jesse over
Sorry.
here dropping bombs of knowledge.
Sorry. It's things I should have brought up earlier, and then I'm like, oh wait, I remember all this. Now that we're talking about version differences.
Jesse dropping knowledge bombs.
If you're fans of these games, try their other versions because Sonic is weird about that.
Dumb bitch. Why are there other versions?
Because they're made by different people, believe it or not. The Sonic Colors for the DS was made by Dimps. Or the Sonic, as you people know them as, the Sonic Rush people.
Oh man, Jesse. You are just a bevy of knowledge today.
Bevy of knowledge today. Big
You are just
brain.
a bevy of Sonic Rush knowledge.
Anyways.
A big old bevy of Sonic Rush knowledge. So I was gonna say Sonic Boom was fucking awful. The sequel Fire and Ice was pretty fucking good. It was only on handheld though, so thank everything.
And I'm pretty sure
Um,
made by a different crew. I have to look that one up though.
I mean, even if it was, who gives a fuck? The point is, it was bad.
You know what? The TV show was very memeable. How's that
The
sound?
TV show was very funny. It was very memeable. I will never forget Eggman asking to live on Sonic's couch because like he got kicked out or some shit. That was really funny.
Developer Sanzuru Games. They done. Thieves in Time? The Sly Collection? Oh, they've done things. Anyways, sorry, tangent.
No, you're good. That definitely is a thing that they did. That's not a small thing either.
Anyways, so what's next? Lost World.
Lost World, I thought was okay, but as I said before, I think control wise, it's pretty bad.
So whenever I think of Lost World, I remember because I went to a party with a bunch of friends where we were playing a bunch of video games, and I brought Sonic Lost World, and I brought it because this was a week after playing it. I had just finished the game, and I was like, guys, this is the most 5 out of 10 game I've ever played. Like, holy shit, guys, it is so mid.
Yeah, no, like Sonic Lost World is very
I've
basic,
never
bitch.
played a game so perfectly balanced of midness.
It is neither good nor bad. It is just balanced.
and I had to like show a bunch of my friends just like check this out guys, is so mid. You ever see that clip from Rick and Morty of the like perfectly even floor?
Perfectly level.
Perfectly level, and Morty's just like, holy shit.
Oh, I don't want to go back. I don't want to go
That's
back.
how I feel about Sonic Lost World. Just perfectly level for 5 out of 10.
Well, you know what? Nobody's gonna get mad at you over a 5 out of 10. I think
Nobody. uh, and then
nobody cares about a 5 out of 10.
now we have forces. We have
Uh,
because that's the end of the
I
Wii U. So yeah, I
I
think we're
believe
at
I
forces.
believe that yeah, it's we're at Forces. Forces was a was a okay idea with a bad thought process behind the execution.
Yeah.
Let me feed my furry fans.
You know what was a good idea? Giving people guns and Shadow the Hedgehog. Let's do that for the furries.
Yeah, I mean they made the guns more palatable in that, in terms of how they worked. Like it was a shmup more than anything, and I'm like, I can get behind a shoot 'em up, you know.
Yeah. You know, if Shadow
But
the Hedgehog was more shoot 'em up-y, it might be better.
yeah, with better guns and not like always 3D areas with them because that's fucking annoying with the control scheme that they don't know how to handle.
Well, okay, so I was playing through Shadow the Hedgehog the other day, and
Of course you were.
just briefly, I was like, how does this game play? I've discovered that the lock on with the guns is actually really, like, generous. Like, you can shoot people from, like, to your left with it.
Right, right.
And
So my
I
point
just
here is
think
it should
Shadow
neither
the
be one or
Hedgehog
the
would be
other.
so much better if you didn't have to kill all the fucking enemies all the time. If you just had to kill, like, clear a path for yourself while shooting, it's actually a perfectly fun Sonic game. It's just when you have to constantly stop to shoot people, and because the objectives are like, oh yeah, you have to kill every enemy in the map. It's like, god damn it.
Keep talking about Shadow the Hedgehog for a second. I'm gonna wipe some dish down real quick.
And then it's like, oh hey, you gotta find the data disk, which means you have to scour every fucking corner because if you miss a single goddamn data disk, there's nothing for it. You're screwed. Like the gunplay is perfectly fine when you're running fast and just shooting. When you're not running fast and have to stop what you're doing constantly, and like you got these chunky ass enemies that take a lot to shoot. You got those like big Macs or like giant aliens that are like, haha, yeah, I'm a big meat wall. You have to spend 5 whole seconds shooting me to kill me. It's like, god damn it. just let me kill and run, man. If it was just killing and running, it would be fantastic. Not to say anything about the story, which we haven't mentioned, but the story's memeable. I mean, what other Sonic game allows you to kill the president? let's go on. Along with that hilarious scene where the president gazes longingly at a picture of Sonic and Shadow on his desk. Where the fuck did he get that picture? Like, Shadow's been dead since Heroes, and then after Heroes, he hasn't hung out with Sonic once. Where the fuck did the president get that picture? Sonic did the president need a picture of Sonic? And then Sonic was like, "Hey, I'll call my good pal Shadow on my cell phone that both I and him have." And then he's like, "Yeah, yeah, Sonic, I will totally go do that, so just so I can look cool in the shot." And then he goes and does a pose, and then it's like, what the fuck? What the fuck is this? Where did he get that picture? Where the fuck did he get that picture? uh, and then there's the fucking gun guy. He's like, oh, I saw a Shadow on the ship with the big alien, which means he's clearly evil. Let's ignore the fact that he clearly hung out with the girl who I liked. If she seemed to like him a lot, I'm just gonna ignore that.
Holy
Okay, sorry.
fuck, man, you were going off.
Sorry.
Holy
I'm
shit!
awakening. I'm awakening a rant.
Oh my god!
How
was
much
like,
of that
where
did
the
you
fuck did he
hear?
get that picture? Where the fuck did he get that picture?
Where the fuck did
He's
he
like,
get that picture?
the shadow was dead. I was like, oh my god. He was holding this in. Oh my goodness.
Sorry, let me finish that thought I was about to say. And then, instead of, he's mad at Shadow, who was friends with Maria, yet he joins the group that killed her. And I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you, dude? You are working for the wrong people to kill the wrong person. And yeah, I get the aliens are evil, stop them. But, like, come on, man. You couldn't just, like, sit Shadow down and talk to him and be like, yo, what's going on here? No, you had to be all like, let's kill Shadow, he's the problem. Even though, he's wearing the uniform of the people who killed her. Sorry.
Dear Lord.
Sorry. Rantacular.
I just happened to be playing Shadow the Hedgehog.
What it was
Man
is,
goes
I
into
wasn't.
like a.
Okay, I wasn't playing Shadow the Hedgehog, I was watching Salty DK Dan. Was it Salty DK Dan? Someone streaming it.
See,
Salty
it
Dicks.
felt like you were watching Alpha Red.
Was not Alpha Red specifically. It was like
Oh,
Alpha
not.
Red.
Yeah, yeah, I know your style.
I think Salty DK Dan did a stream where he was like where he let chat like send in super chats to decide whether he's good and evil. It's actually really funny.
See, I was watching Doug Doug the other day,
Wait, no, it wasn't Salty
and
DK Dan. Who did that?
I have no idea.
Oh my
But Doug
god.
Doug made a chat AI, made a AI
Lythero! It was
that was
Lythero who
to be
did
on the
it.
fan. Lythero? Oh, that motherfucker.
That was funny. It was Lythero, that's right. I was like, no, it wasn't him. It was Lythero. God damn, I have over like, I have like 150 subscriptions, Joey. My
I
god, I
have way
cannot
more. You're
remember.
fine. I have some from back when I was still in high school with
Oh,
you.
I do too. I do too.
Like back when I watched Galm, Bash.
Anyways. So yeah, Sonic Force is bad.
Yeah, it was
Uh,
very bad. Mania Plus specifically is easily one of the best 2D Sonic games ever created.
oh yeah. And then they fired
Um,
them all.
yeah, that was really weird. That made a profit.
Okay, I don't think it was fired. More like I was reading up on. It doesn't sound like they were fired so much as they just weren't rehired.
Yeah, no, they were on commission, like because they were
Yeah,
indie devs technically.
but it's kind of weird that they didn't rehire them.
It probably cost a good amount because, or they probably figured like they asked for more because the game was successful. And I guarantee you, if they asked for anything, it'd be merch.
Yeah.
Because if you're gonna make money back on your investment, you're gonna be like, give me a percentage of merch sales.
Anyways,
If uh,
and now Frontiers.
Super, yeah, Frontiers is all right. It's a 7 to 8 out of 10 for me.
I want to
Seven.
play through Frontiers again because apparently they've updated everything, and there's more to it.
It's not, it's a good game. It's a good game. Like I'm not gonna add them. It controls fine. The combat is okay. The abilities are fine. It feels good to run. The collectibles are all right. The music is dynamite, as always.
You
Like
know,
even the bad.
I first of all, one of the things they've added is the ability to pick like Sonic playlists, like in Generations, where you could pick your music from Sonic. So
Yeah,
yes, but you know, it's like Sonic Colors. It's just a good vibe. It's a good vibe in game.
I can agree with that. It's a lot more like you get to see like they teased it for a while, but you get to see some Eggman personality. And that was nice for him not to just be
Evil
basic
guy
bitch.
with mustache.
Yeah, yeah, no, because it's just so basic.
I mean, you got a lot of
Um,
weirdly good moments with a lot of the like side characters and stuff.
you do. I mean, they tried to write a story in this one, like they did in well, like they did at the
Well,
end
they
of
had
two.
the IDW guy working on it, the guy who was doing the Sonic colors. He was writing the game. Not
Yeah,
Sonic comics. And have you read some of those Sonic comics? Really
yeah.
good.
Some of them are good. A lot of them are bad.
The
Some of them
IDW
are good.
ones.
All of them. Like it's because it's there's a reason Sonic's comics aren't as popular as even uh fucking
I'm not talking about
Spawn's
the
comics.
Archie ones. The Archie ones are like, what the fuck?
No, IDW even has bad stories. Like Archie ones are all bad, but IDW ones have a lot of bad stories with some really good stories.
Do they? I'm trying to think of which ones were bad. There's some like,
Rule of thumb with any comic series is any comic series that has not made like if you can't tell me the story from start to finish and not break off and be like, okay, that was bad, don't worry about it. That's how it is, you know. The same thing happens with Superman. The same thing happens with Hellboy. Same thing definitely happens with Spawn. Um, there's a reason the darkness isn't seen very often in comics anymore because his stories got really bad. And he couldn't build good ones up enough.
well, anyways, I think that's enough about Sonic though. Let's go on to the actual subject of the episode. We're
Right,
30 minutes into it.
right.
I was gonna talk about the Nintendo Direct, but that might have to be episode 3. One Piece live action. Ooh, there's a non sequitur for you.
That works. It was good.
It's
I
good.
think the casting was well done. I think it's one of the most diverse live actions I've ever seen.
Oh yeah,
As a note, uh, that is a good thing to me because if you're a pirate, it makes sense that you're super diverse.
well, each of the islands are like their own mini country anyway, so it's like, yeah. And people are
Yeah, no,
constantly
and
traveling everywhere.
it kind of just dictated that everybody was white once they reached Wano for a little bit there too. And I'm like, well, that's not true.
Um, one of the weird things I'm having, I've only watched all the way up to episode 6. I got 2 more episodes to watch. I've been taking it a little slow. Um, is the changes they've made have not been bothering me as much as I thought it was. And this is
Because they
weird.
found a way. It's the chain link theory. You can take a link out of a chain as long as there's still the other links that you can hook up.
Well, I think this is the point I was trying to make. I tried watching the Trigun remake. I watched the first episode. I was like, I can't watch this. I'm getting bothered by all the changes. All the changes are bothering me. I don't know
That's different
why.
for me. I watched it after reading the manga and recognizing that the anime and the manga were completely different in how they were written, which means that like initially the anime did the wrong thing. So I had
Yeah,
to accept that. And moving forward, this was a treat that I got to see the manga be adapted finally. So it's not like they're remaking Trigun; they're just adapting the manga
yeah.
finally.
This is like the Brotherhood of, yeah, and
Yeah, yeah, which I was down with.
I guess it's weird. I don't know why I'm okay with like the One Piece changes, the drastic One Piece changes, and not so much the Trigun changes.
Because One Piece is vast enough in storytelling styles that you can fit all of those storytelling styles into one space.
I figured because like I've tried to think of like what changes they did make, right? So like let's take the Buggy the Clown segment, right?
He's
They
more intimidating.
they made it more intimidating. They also removed like, him destroying the town, but they did show that he destroyed and captured the citizens. So like they condensed it a little bit. They didn't have the section with the dog at all or in like the lion tamer and stuff. They
Right.
kind of like Zoro obviously fights like on the wheel, like he has more of a verbal fight with that one guy throwing the knives, but that
Oh,
also kind of
he's much more in tune with being a swordsman in this one too.
yeah, but like getting into like this verbal fight instead of like an actual fight, but like Nami doesn't really do anything. They kind of like by having those two working together on that because Nami was there helping him. They kind of condensed their sections of this, and it's like the way they've condensed stuff hasn't ruined anything because Luffy still fights Buggy. Buggy still does his weird like falling apart thing and flying around thing. They still
Right.
beat Buggy essentially the same way. It's a little different, but essentially the same thing. They even give
Right.
him the same like hands on head with the feet pose. Like they got all the important bits. They did everything important they needed, which means that all of the changes did not bother me.
The IGN was really upset about them being too close to the source material, and I'm like, what the fuck?
And
What?
I it does remind me because there was one moment that did kind of piss me off that they changed, and I was super fucking upset about it. During
Yeah.
Gold Roger's speech, do you know what he does not say?
Tell me.
He does not say, I have left everything I own in one piece. He does not mention that line. And I'm like, what the
He doesn't
fuck?
need to. He
He,
doesn't need to.
I know he doesn't
The
need.
point isn't that he says the word to coin it. The point is that people make up a myth.
I know,
That's not the
but it
major
was
part
a
of that
pretty
speech.
iconic line.
That's not the major point of that speech. The point was the call to action to go to the seas in
I
general, which he
know, and
did.
that's I'm not at. It's like the one thing, and then like that was like the only thing though. It was like the rest of the speech fantastic, and they had Roger looked good, the gravitas of the speech was good, just that one line missing, and maybe it was because it was like at the very beginning where I was a little jumpy about it. It was a little bit
I
like,
mean, it's one of those things where, but like, I would instead of putting this as the Full Metal Alchemist live action comparison, I would put this as obviously this is more like the Rurouni Kenshin live action in that it's very true to its material. It's very well done.
well, it's just one of those moments where it's like, say the line, Bart, say it. Because I
Yeah,
was just watching episode 6, and it had Zoro getting sliced up by Mihawk. And I'm like, okay, he's facing towards the Mihawk. He put his sword away. Say the line, Ron. Say this line, Zoro. And then he's like, scars on the back are swordsman shame. I'm like, yeah, he said the line. He said the thing. He did the thing.
true.
So it's like when Roger didn't do the thing, I was like, eh. It's like, yeah, the speech is everything it needs to be, but he also didn't say the thing.
I
He
mean,
did
the
say
big
the
thing here
thing.
for me too is it's some people didn't like that they just focused on moments, but you gotta like with a series like this, it's the same thing that happened in Dragon Ball Z Evolution. They gave nothing to us. Like even if they had whitewashed it, like I'm gonna be clear here, even if they had whitewashed it, like if they had all of the moments done properly, there would have only been one minor complaint at that point because it would have been done right.
Yeah.
But it was all wrong.
Well, it's just one of those things. It's like, why are you adapting this if you don't do the thing? You know?
Right. Agreed.
Like,
It's
yeah, if you were gonna change everything about it, then you could have just made a pirate show.
yep, for sure. And they did. This is much more piratey than
Than regular One Piece.
than regular One Piece. Yeah, which was actually one of my initial gripes with One Piece when I was younger.
I think this is
And
the.
I just
I think it's. I think this is fine because like, since they have all the major moments, now we're just getting like a different flavoring to it. We're getting a
very true.
chocolate version to regular One Piece's vanilla. It's still ice cream, but one's a different flavor.
That is true.
And I think that makes me appreciate this more because it doesn't feel like I'm. It makes me more excited to watch it because I feel like if I didn't watch the Shaman King remake because the Shaman King remake is just the previous show again. I was like, I'm kind of bored.
I mean, they didn't keep all the best parts of Shaman King is one of the big issues
That's another
because
thing, but I think
like
being
Shaman King is a mistreated anime series, and I don't think that one's a fair one to talk
I
about
know, but
because like, Baki is the opposite side of the spectrum where it's treated a little. Honestly, I think Baki's treated too well.
but back to
Hey,
I think another thing like I think to like the fights and stuff like um a lot of the fights are just like choreographed martial arts fights, which is very different from the more exaggerated anime fights, but they have the specific scenes you need. They have the moments. And
Yeah, it isn't an anime of moments though. Is the big thing in this one is there's a lot of character progression outside of these moments.
that's true.
Uh, People feel lived in as they did in the anime when they came about. Alan Park was just as important, if not more so, because they brought it in earlier.
But I think another thing I want to point out is they didn't skip on the anime-nisms. You know, when they were when Kuro uh went into the basement with the sheep guy and he started flash stepping everywhere, I was like, oh, they're doing anime stuff. They're doing anime-isms.
It's
And
true, yeah.
there's a scene where Garp's firing cannonballs. I'm like, oh, why is he firing cannonballs? And then Garp grabs a cannonball with his hand and chucks it at them. I'm like, yeah, he did the thing. They're not
Yep.
skipping on anime-isms, and that is something I really appreciate in this because I was
It's
really worried
important.
about that.
They didn't oversize the cannonballs though, luckily, because that would have looked dumb in my opinion.
That's fine as long as you get the point that Garp is doing something superhuman.
Agreed.
um, like, and then like other changes, they fought in the mansion instead of out in the by the shoreline. I'm like, that's
Oh,
fine.
but I'll be honest. I think Kuro was my favorite villain. Holy crap, he was chilling.
Oh, Koro was awesome. Like he had like no personality. He had very little personality in the
No,
original.
he had a lot. He had a lot. I'm gonna be clear here. He had a lot. The change here was that he became more ominous with it
Yeah, a little bit more overt about it. They're showing his
because
personality a little bit better.
like do you know Kuro's story initially? He broke Morgan's jaw, and that's the reason the metal piece is there. And then he had him get hypnotized so he would think he killed him, so he could hide and take somebody's wealth by killing them.
I'm a little disappointed Django didn't show up though, but that's just a minor disappointment.
I also think the headbutt is like a bigger headbutt would have been more fun, but
I mean, they
you
had the
know,
headbutt though. He took him out the way he was supposed to take him out.
yeah, that's true.
They did the thing.
He didn't do the pussy step though, and that upsets me. I'm like, where's the pussy step? Where's the pussy step?
I think another thing is they're not skipping on the costumes. The Black Cat Pirates look absolutely fucking ridiculous, and I love it.
Dude, Kuro was doing the glasses thing.
Yeah, he
That's
was
like
doing the glasses thing. But like, and then there's stuff like I watched the first episode of the Braté. They have that one chef, Sanji's friend, who looked absolutely ridiculous in the anime. He's in the costume. He's got the hair. He's got like the clothing he needs. It's like they didn't have to, but they did.
Yeah, no, it's phenomenal.
They and that I feel like with a lot of characters, and more importantly, and this is something a lot of the live actions failed to do, they're fucking dyeing their hair. They're not wigs, they're dye, which is, man, that makes so much of a difference.
I
Make,
think
oh,
because my favorite of the big three is Sanji. I love Sanji.
I like
But
Sanji.
have you looked at what the actor actually does like in real life?
No.
He's actually a capoeira practitioner, first off. So like all of those
Yeah,
stunts and
I
moves
did
he's
see him
doing, he
do
does
that
them
kick to
himself.
that pirate. I was like, that was
Okay.
smooth as fuck.
He can actually cook. So that bluefish fin tuna thing he made that for real.
Wow, so they basically found Sanji in real life.
I found Sanji in real life.
That's hilarious.
Makes me so happy. I can't wait to see how Brooke looks eventually, but in the next
That's
season we have
gonna
a
be a
couple of good.
long time out, man.
Well, in the next season we have my two favorite characters coming in. We got Smoker and we got Crocodile. Crocodile will be the end villain of the next one, I think.
We got Chopper coming. What's Chopper gonna look like?
I think it's going to be really funny to see Guard Point.
um, one thing I've noticed is they're doing a pretty good job balancing the CGI and practical effects. They're not just slapping CGI on everything. I think one thing I noticed that I was like, wow, this is kind of weird is the Den Den Mushi. Those are not CGI. Those are animatronics. I'm like, wow, that's kind of neato.
I think man,
And yeah, they do still look kind of ridiculous, but I kind of like them.
I mean, of all the costume styles, though, goddamn, it's got to be said, Mihawk was fucking
Oh,
perfect.
Mihawk, dude, that Mihawk, the guy playing him had the perfect vibe. That costume was
Everything was
perfect.
right.
That
Everything. They didn't
sword
get a
looked
thing wrong.
amazing.
His voice was right. His eyes were right. His body was right. His costume was right.
That
Literally everything with him is correct.
I could
And it made
feel
me so happy.
I could feel his hockey from the screen, my man. I was like, I
Dude,
could
that
feel
man,
it.
like, he was intimidating me. Like, he cut the first thing we see is he's just slicing people up, cutting a ship in half. Dude, we don't even see Don Krieg, and I'm like, you know what? I accept this. Mihawk's pretty great.
They killed John Krieg, and they were just like, yeah, whatever. I don't need John Krieg. He's the only
Yeah,
villain.
I mean, they didn't have time for Don Krieg, is my assumption here.
Yeah, I guess if they had more time, they would have done him. But I
And it
was,
sounds like Oda, if they're killing him in the anime, Oda isn't going to bring him back in the manga too, which means we can confirm that we won't see him again.
that's good. He's my least favorite villain.
He's got an interesting concept of being a weapons expert. It's just they don't fulfill it. You know what I mean? They don't
It's
fulfill
just
it properly.
okay. Here's the thing. Weapons expert with a fleet of men was done by better by Sanji's dad. So you know what?
Yeah, but that was way later too.
That's true. It's just kind of weird.
And also that's less weapons expert and more science weapon expert. Like
Similar vibe. Similar
that's
idea.
that's different. That's a little different to me. One relies more would rely more on technique eventually, and one will not need to.
So yeah, no, I'm really loving it. Ironically, you know, when I was watching the trailers, I was like, man, Arlong looks like great. I can't believe it is him. But now I'm like, wow, Arlong actually looks like one of the worst costume jobs here because everyone else looks great. It's weird.
Yeah.
Because like when I was watching the trailers, I was like, wow, Arlong looks good because the bar was so fucking low from previous adaptations. And now I'm like, wow, Arlong's got the worst costume. He still looks great, but it's like
No,
everybody else looks just so amazing.
I disagree. Arlong's look perfect for what they had to do with live action. Because how the fuck would you make a saw-faced shark
That's
in
true.
live action
You know
any
what?
other
I
way?
will agree. That was also a very tall order.
I think they look great. I think they made them not look overtly stupid too. Like the big lipped one didn't look nearly as bad as he would have in the anime if they had
I'm
given him the
not
long
gotten the
lips.
last two episodes of that yet, though, so we will get to
Oh,
that.
this is just One Piece. Like
Yeah.
you've watched One Piece, so you know who I'm talking.
Yeah, but like designs and looks and stuff is something we know I haven't seen yet.
Oh, you've seen the Karate Fish.
Yeah, I've seen Karate Fish. He actually looks pretty
Okay.
good.
Yeah, no, he looks good. And his so yeah, okay. So are you at the Baratia yet?
Yeah, I just watched Zoro get sliced by Mihawk. That was the end of the episode. That's where I watched.
Okay. After this, I'm gonna recommend you watch the next one.
Next one's gonna be good. That's fine.
But yeah, no, anime's good.
I think the only
Show
other
is
thing I
very
want to
good.
talk about in the show is they have Garp and Cody like more major characters than they were in the show, than in the
Yeah,
manga.
I think that's a good thing
I think so
because
too.
they've condensed over 40 episodes. You got to keep in mind.
Yes, and I
And
think
honestly,
well,
Garp is very important as a character, just in general. And Cody, he is basically the opposite side of the spectrum of Luffy.
I think it's also a good way to kind of show off the Marines because the Marines don't really get shown off in East Blue as much as I feel like they could have been. But whereas, like in this adaptation, they could show off the Marines a little bit more.
You gotta catch up on the manga, man, so I can talk to you more about what's happening with the Marines.
Yeah, but I also don't want to spoil things for the audience too much.
Oh, I know. That's why you would do a spoiler warning, Jesse.
Spoiler warning.
You know, they skip to this time slot. Well, I can't tell you it because you haven't read it.
I will eventually. I still got finished watching Wano.
Oh, just read Wano.
Just read Wano.
It's at this point the anime is almost done with it.
Anyways, so yeah, that's
But
the One Piece live action.
I find it to be a very good standard setter.
And from now on, every time a new live action adaptation comes out, we're gonna be like, why aren't you One Piece? Why aren't you doing
Yeah,
what they do?
that's the expectation now. I mean, for real.
I mean, and like I think about what they do, it's like, okay, they have good costume work, decent CGI that they don't overuse, good practical effects. Like one thing I noticed was the basement where Nami fought the Marines, like when she was infiltrating them, is the exact same basement uh that they used for the cellar in the mansion.
Yeah,
And I think some of
yeah.
the
I mean,
hallways were the same too.
yeah,
But
that's
it's like
okay.
they redecorated it so well that you barely notice unless you're like really paying attention. And it's like that's
Unless
fine.
you're looking for it.
That's a they do a lot. They know where to cut the corners to save the money for what matters.
Yeah, yeah.
There is
I
an
think that
art
is that
form to cutting corners in this type of thing, and
that's
it's a
true.
necessary art form more than people think it is. Because people who don't cut corners run out of money, and people who are bad at cutting corners, well, you've seen what happens with that.
Yeah,
You get the wigs.
man, oh man, yeah, that show's good.
And non-stop CGI. Just a quick question. Would the live action Death Note be better with regular Ryuk or CGI Ryuk? Just saying.
I don't think they could make a practical effect that's good enough, but CGI to this point has come long enough that
I mean, a guy in
they
a costume just floating around on some strings. I think they could have done practical. It's not that bad. if if you did like a maybe a little bit of mixture of it, it could. I think it'd be fine. A little clever editing. You
I
know,
guess.
like
I mean,
what magical things does Ryuk do other than float around? He goes through walls sometimes. A little editing, and you can have somebody
well,
sticking through a
if they're
wall.
gonna make it into a singular movie, they're gonna have to do a three thing skip on the first
That's true.
time. Just in general.
But I don't know. Yeah, and they do a lot of clever editing. Like that's the whole Kuro's thing. He does the flash step. All they do is just edit him in one spot and then move him somewhere else. Easy spot.
But that's my point. The CGI is a lot better these days.
Yeah.
Like, keep in mind how long ago was the Death Note live action? That was almost 10 years ago.
I mean, we got the Shanks flashback with the dragon. I was like, the dragon looked good.
Yeah, the Conqueror's hockey was acceptable too.
I I appreciate that they were a little bit more. I guess a little bit more subtle about it. Just a smidge.
Yeah,
Because previously it was very blatant that Shanks did something, whereas this one it's like, what did Shanks do? What? And I think that's fine because this is also a lot earlier in the story. I think a bit. Wait, when did we get that story previously? It's been a while. I need to rewatch. You know what? Before I finish Wano, I gotta rewatch all of One Piece, Joey. Sorry.
if you do, I'm just gonna spoil it for you.
I know.
Tired of waiting for you and Izzy's ass.
Tired. I'm 100 episodes away from being caught up, Joey.
That's not my fault. That sounds like a you. It's you, not Nish me.
100 episodes. I'm literally in the middle of the big Wano fight. Well, not big Wano fight, but like when they're fighting in Wano. So it's like 100 episodes of them just fighting each other. That's what I
mean,
got.
you're gonna see a lot of upscales and animation in those
That's
100
good.
episodes. I'm gonna say
That's
it right
why I
now.
do
Like,
the anime and not the manga. I like the animation.
but if you want to talk about it on stream, then you gotta fucking read.
I
And
gotta
then
read. I gotta catch up.
like there's stuff that happens that you need to know about. We're in a new arc now, man.
New arc.
Like we're on the Egghead Island arc now, man.
Where we finally get to
All arc,
meet Mr. Vegapunk. who's been mentioned nonstop throughout the series, but never seen.
Yeah, fucking read it. Fucking read it. It's really good. Shit's going down.
All right, fair enough.
And we can talk about it, and then people will actually give a fuck.
Yeah. We're talking about topical One Piece stuff right now, though. It's the live action. That's more topical than.
Right. Now that that's gone, the final saga exists. Get into it, baby. Get into it.
The final saga is coming, and I definitely need to catch up before because the moment the One Piece is revealed, Twitter is going to tell everyone.
Yeah, they did it with Gear 5. That was me trying to shut my mouth when that happened.
Oh my
I didn't tell
god.
you any I didn't tell you anything. You know what? I should have told you something. I would have beaten them to it.
Oh well.
Gosh darn it. It's so annoying. But yeah,
Anyways,
no,
I think that's gonna be this episode. Unless you got anything you really want to say about One Piece left over.
I think we'll jump over to the next episode. We'll talk about the Nintendo Direct a little bit.
Oh yeah, the Nintendo Direct. All right. Hope y'all had fun. Bye.